I think
everyone
everyone aware of that.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
so I mean, this the whole session is focused on how things are working in backend, and um, we have to create a set of document across that application. Uh, I think everybody need to put some effort to update those documents. That also I will go through it. Yeah, it's more about how things are working in the as a whole application. So I will go one by one. So I think most of you are aware of this architecture diagram, but let me put it. Let me quickly walk through this architecture diagram once again. Uh, so so whoever is not having that much understanding, right? I want to refresh it, or I want to give some kind of heads up. So um, when it comes to that application, voice watch or HODP or HODK or whatever, then in that matter, the in the back end, mostly it revolves around four major application. And when it comes to when talk about voice based solution, so the front end part, right? There are three major applications there in front end application: the UI, and then web app. uh, there is a one more application called GoSocket. So each plays a different role. For example, UA, it's uh, I don't need to say much about UA based application, but web app, it's a kind of middleware. So why do we need a web app? That that is the some basic question, right? So uh, one of the major part of this whole architecture, right? Most of the communication between one application to other application happening through RabbitMQ. So that one thing we need to, uh, uh, I think we have to have proper understanding about RabbitMQ based communication. So this whole session is more about RabbitMQ communication, how the things are happening. I will discuss about those details as well. So when it comes to that web app, right? So the UI needs to communicate with the backend system for to persist user input or to show the details from database, all the things, right? So for that, you, the core or any other application not exposing any API. So the communication happening through RabbitMQ. So web app act as a middleware. So whenever you want to talk with the core, it will go via web app. So web app, it's kind of middleware which would expose API that would be converted into message and put it to a queue. Okay, queue, and then core would take it those messages. So and then go socket, wherever you are seeing live data. Uh, that's where go socket comes into picture. When I say live data, if you are running a test page, right? So so there are more than one places we would come across the live data. So let me quickly walk through that. Uh, we need to have that level of understanding that. So okay, let me start with one by one. For a script page, correct? If you are executing particular script, uh, and then you can see that live logs, live metrics right away here. That is part of WebSocket communication. So if you try to run a script, correct, here you would have result and logs would be displayed. That is also part of WebSocket communication. And then Hammer. So if we see here, correct, here also the communication happened through WebSocket only. So we are getting the live feed from backend so that you would know live status of each hammer label. Okay, whether it is connected or not connected, how many channels are available, how many labels are available, all those things you would see the live data. So if you see here, correct, this is WebSocket communication. So you can see the feeds are coming from backend, uh, uh, and then based on that only we are displaying all these details. Okay, and then few more places. For example, if you are updating, uh, so yeah, for example, if you are updating particular variable, here also you would see live feed. So if you go there and see, so it's about I mean, if you are updating particular variable, it that particular variable need to be updated in multiple script and test. So you need to see the progress which is going on in backend side. So that also we would see it here. So I'm trying, what I'm trying to say, um, you all of you all as a developer or tester, uh, we have to have this understanding whether it is failing on WebSocket or normal API call or something like that. So sometimes it is easier, it would help us to debug some level easier. uh, uh, that is one thing I want to put it here. So we covered three front end part, right? UA, web app, and Go socket, and then go to the core. Core core primarily serve something like persisted the data in DB, and uh, and then forward particular request to respective application. So for example, if you are creating a script, you need to persist those details in DB, right? The UA would in UA user would create a script, and then it go to the web app and it go to the core persist those details. I'm not going into in detail, but yeah, I think all of you are aware of that. And then also, um, if you want to schedule a particular test, right, it is not stopping here. So for example, if you create a script, it reaches until database. But if you want to schedule a script, it go to the core, it persists the data, also it send it to scheduler. uh, okay, so and let's talk about scheduler on high level. Scheduler is nothing more about uh, if you want to execute certain things periodically, or if you want to execute any test cases in that matter, first of all it should reach scheduler. Scheduler would distribute to respective application. It can be a HODP, HODQA, or a simple voice watch application, whatever it is. The request would go to the scheduler. Scheduler, based on request, right, it would immediately execute particular test case, or it would schedule a particular test case. The scheduler is based on Quartz framework. So basically it's like a kind of a cron job. You can specify what interval you have to run particular test case, which date you have to run, all those things you basically you can configure it. Okay, so when it comes to the test, right, we can broadly segregate into two sections. One is script execution. So if you refer that script page, correct, if you want to execute script immediately, uh, that also goes via scheduler. But only thing is that scheduler would not create any job for that. It just hand over to backend application directly as it is. But if you're creating a particular test, so you know how to create a test, right? So for example, here you can specify particular uh, execution timing and all the details here, the schedule details, right? So you can basically set all the details, how frequently you want to run particular test, which day, from which day to which day do you want to run. So these are the basic things, right? So the scheduler would create a backend job for that. That job would take care of execution in appropriate time. Okay, that is about scheduler. We covered three major application. I'm not going to in detail on high level only. So and then that execution platform. When I say execution platform, the for voice, right, we have a combination of application as a execution platform. uh, um, so basically when you run a voice based test, so it these three major application, probe, jcc, hinge, hammer, all these needs to work together to execute particular test case. Similar way, we have some other channel, right? Why aside from voice, we have a chat, SMS, all those channels we recently included. We are also going to include API channel as well. For that, it do not have any role. We would have a different setup for voice, chat, SMS, all those things. I'm not going to those things in detail at this moment. But most of the time we are getting into problem related to IVR test case, because that's where most of the legacy issues are comes up. Okay, so I'm stopping here. So I think everyone should have understanding about distinction about all these application. One way, I mean, you may hear about
Okay.
that, but you have to correlate and you need to have a proper understanding. So for example, even UA developer, if you are going to test something critical, so you got something
Mhm.
for uh, I mean, you have some feature and you want to hand over to QA for some time, you are facing some issue, right? You can't ask everyone to come into that particular call and check it one by one hereafter. That one thing we have to agree and go ahead. Uh, I mean, respective people can jump into that particular that particular troubleshooting mechanism, but
Mhm.
there are we are going to set prerequisites. Uh, so those things needs to be verified upfront. Whoever is working on their feature, right? Then you can reach a respective team. So to in order to follow that process, right, you all need to have some level of basic understanding. So you can I think you can ask whatever question you need about this four major application, and then whatever I'm going to explain it further. So I request all of you to have a proper understanding. It may easier to at this moment, but later if you are not familiar, right,
Mhm.
this process
Yes,
won't
yes, yes.
work, and we are following back to that same process again. So this is what they are also talking about the yarks, and I think we got so many escalation around that. Even there are also
Mm.
documenting or specifying any protocol or any kind of troubleshooting document. So it's up to us now to reduce that timing. So um, so any question on high level about these four major application?
You can unmute and yeah, you can ask. Yeah, I think on the daily basis you are working on some tickets or any process is a feature implementation and all. Yeah,
Okay. Okay, I assume that all of us have that level of understanding. Let me go
understand.
ahead
Yeah,
further.
really.
Let me go ahead further. So, uh, so here, correct, we have so many modules. So, if something, some issue happens, right, we need to, first of all, we have to isolate the issue, where exactly the issues are going on. That is the primary primary and most fundamental things we as a developer needs to do. Okay, so for that we have to understand that communication between one model to other model. So I will go one by one. So for example, uh, the um, so if you're scheduling particular test case, I'm going with some example. So if you schedule particular test case, uh, for every 5 minutes you want to run particular test case, but that is not happening. Okay, then what you have to you able to save the team. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear actually. Yeah, that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so um so the let me start with particular example. So when we talk about the test, right, you can schedule it, but schedule particular test case based on your requirement and save it. Okay, you able to save it, but and then you go to the view result and you are expected to list view the result of each test. Okay, if that is not happening, right, then you have to um, uh, I mean, you have to correlate and isolate the issue. So now the thing is that you be able to save the script, you able to save the test. That means the communication between UA, web app, core, and database is happening properly. That is the reason you able to save the script properly, right? That is one part. But second part is the schedule is not happening. Schedule is not executed. So that is the root. That is the problem statement, right? So now the question is not about core. Core is working fine, right? But you are not able to schedule it, and schedule is somehow it's not working. So that is the next step, right? So what you have to do, whether scheduler is up and running, that is this thing we need to check it, because core would hand over request to scheduler only. Scheduler would listen on particular queue and then um, take that particular job and execute in the background. Okay, so you don't, I think the most primary thing is we need to make sure that scheduler application is up and running. Okay, that is the thing. I think we are going to prepare a in detail document, and so that anybody can figure out how to locate these issue, all those things. But I'm saying you need to proceed this way. So as I mentioned, right, the communication start from here, core, database, and then scheduler, and then backend application. So we have to correlate and where things are going wrong. That at some level we need to figure it out. Uh, um, that is what they're actually expecting. So we have, first of all, the basic thing, we need to make sure that all relevant application or services are up and running. Okay, so the most efficient way to check it immediately, right, the first and foremost thing, whenever you start facing some issue, right, first thing you have to do, you need to log into RabbitMQ. Okay, so this is where you have to start. So for example, um, you start so as the last problem statement, something wrong with the scheduler, right? So what primary step we have to do, we need to check whether scheduler is up and running. For that, what you have to do, you have to identify that scheduler queue, that we are going to document it in detail. So there would be some instruction for that, you can easily get it. But what I'm saying is, whatever scheduler listener queue, correct, you have to figure it out and then go there and check it whether any consumer there. Okay, so here we have a consumer, that means scheduler is up and running. So if we do not have any consumer, right, then scheduler is not working. I mean, it may be someone may stop the scheduler service by mistake, or something went wrong. We never know. So what you have to do, the next step, you go to that particular scheduler server, and then start that particular JCC service. So if it is really, I think whatever, these are the basic things, right? Identify the service and then start the service. If the problem beyond that level, right, you can call respective developer or uh, respective team members to address that particular issue. But uh, I think we all I'm not. I'm sure it is quite straightforward one. I think we can, all of us can do that. So the similar way, right? If we are, if we, I mean, if we, there are. Let me talk about the next problem statement. So
Yeah, yeah.
you are try to save something, but the web app itself failing, the web service is failing. That means you have to check whether that web app service is up and running or not. So we need to document those details in our documentation. So what is the relevant service for web app? So whether how to check the related logs around the web app. So all those things we have to see it. So that is one thing. So third thing is
Yeah.
web app is up and running. You are not having issue with the web app. Yeah, sorry. So anybody try to mention something? Okay.
Jagnesh, once again,
Yeah.
you have shown the RabbitMQ, right? So
Yes.
each environment will have a RabbitMQ, right?
Yes.
That is how it is, right? Okay.
Yes. Right. Yeah. We have a. I mean, for every environment, we would have a unique unique RabbitMQ environment.
Okay.
Okay. So I think to refer those details, I mean, what is the RabbitMQ server, which queue I need to refer, whether the particular service is up and running, all those things we are going to document it. But I'm saying the troubleshooting mechanism, I'm trying to highlight the troubleshooting mechanism. So that is the bare minimum thing they're expecting from all of us. For example, if even if you are not comes under your model, right, we have to go that way. uh, so so coming back to the problem statement, so I'm, as I said, mentioned, right, so
Yeah, yeah.
if you able to call web app successfully, you are not getting any 404 error or something like that. Web app call is successful, but you are getting you are not able to save it properly. So then the problem would be related to core. That is also possible. So for that, I'm not sure which queue we are referring core for to get a request from web app. Uh, web app. Oh, okay. I think that we need to document it. I think Chetan and Sadish comes into picture for that. So it probably a core or a core web app. There are two queues we would have it. We have to go there and check it whether core is up and running. This is one of the core, and there is a one more core web app. So so we have to see. I mean, yeah, we need to document all the necessary queue details in our documentation, so that uh, all basic problems we can isolate and fix it. That one thing I want to highlight. So um, you are, I think all of us, you got my point, right? So um, the troubleshooting mechanism, we always start with RabbitMQ. Okay, we have to connect to RabbitMQ. and we would have a clear-cut documentation, which service listening on which queue for which purpose, all those things. So you just correlate in functional level. If you try to save it, what's happening beyond this, beyond that, in the backend, and then which queue you have to refer it, and then based on that you need to go to respective application. Or if service is not up and running, you have to start, or you need to check some basic logs if people are not available for that that particular day. So that is the way we need to go ahead. Okay. So any question at this moment?
Any questions or suggestions? Anything? Chetan, Prateek, anything you guys are going to add here?
No, it looks fine.
Yeah. So we're going to start a checklist document first for all of those applications. That what all first we need to do means whenever we get any such issues, then we need to see what will be the format and what are the queues
Oh,
we need
yeah,
to see
I mean
open
we
and
can,
all. Yeah.
we can come to that part a little bit
Yeah.
late,
Yeah.
but I'm
Okay.
trying to convey the how the things are working, and what are the primary things
What
we
are
have to check it.
primary
Okay.
things? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the most fundamental thing is that we need to have what are the list of application services are impacted, and which one plays which role, that we need to make sure that. Okay. So for example, WebSocket is responsible to show the live logs. So if you have problem with live logs, we need to go that way. So go to that WebSocket logs, or go to check relevant queue for OSocket, whether there is any consumer or consumer is available or not. If not, where to check all those things. And then similar goes to that web app services. If UA is not up and running, where I need to go there, and how, which service is responsible, and all those things we need to take care of that. And then comes to that core and scheduler, similar way. I mean, core also we have so many modules. We need to make sure that uh, what role it playing, and all the necessary things also we need to um, check it. Okay. So when it comes to that core, I think if you ask me, there are 3 or 4 things all of us should aware of that. One thing is, what are the primary services across that application. So for example, particular application, right, it may have more than one service. For example, Hammer, it has I think around 6 or 7 services there. I think the other day Andicate list out that services. So if Hammer is if you have any issue with the Hammer, right, we have to go there and check all the services are up and running. That would be the primary thing. So um, the services comes into picture. Second thing is uh, the functionality of application, which application playing which role. Those things also we need to aware. And then the communication part, RabbitMQ, how one application communicate with the other application. And also I want to talk about one more thing about file in the storage system, DFS or Wasabi. So there is a one more problem statement. I list out all the things and we are going to document in detail. It's not going to, I mean, these things are not going to come complete immediately. But what I'm trying to convey here, let us put everything in detail in that troubleshooting document. I have a list. I will go through it. But when it comes to that application and service, right, it comes down to 4 or 5 major things only. That's it, nothing more than. It may look like somewhat complex, but if you are aware of all the all the necessary details, right, we should able to fix it. Okay, then next thing is I mean, we talk about the DFS Wasabi, right? So for example, if you save the script and if you try to run a test, but you are not able to run a test, so this is also one of the scenario. I mean, flow reaches until hammer. Okay, uh, so if you trigger something in UA, it reaches the hammer, but the hammer, I mean, it reaches hinge, but hinge is not able to execute that particular call. So one of the main problem or one of the problem would be whether it can retrieve whatever script you stored it, right? It needs to retrieve. So that is where DFS Wasabi comes into picture. So what usually happen, right? When you store particular file, you would store it in DFS or Wasabi file system. I mean, the script converted into XBX file and it will be put it into DFS Wasabi. So that thing we need to get it from uh, get it in the hinge model. So if hinge is not able to uh, uh, get that script SBX file correct, there could be some couple of reasons. One of the reason is in core, right, we are pointing to one DFS server. Hinge may pointing to other DFS server. Okay, so we in that whole ecosystem, correct, when we talk about sandbox 1, sandbox 2, dev integration, beta, right, these things needs to be so if you ask me what is the connecting point between these under that particular environment, correct, we have so many applications. How the things are connecting with one another, it's all about RabbitMQ and the DFS Wasabi file system. Okay, so whatever module we are running in that part of a particular environment, right, all should connect to same RabbitMQ. So this is the one of the major problem. So if something goes wrong, right, so for example, so the other day I shared the list of sandbox details, right? So if you see here, right, we have a 2 sandbox environment. I think we have third one as well, but I don't have a data. But if you talk about the 2 sandbox environment here, we have a UA model, JCC model, core model, probe model. So all are running independently, but all should connected to this particular RabbitMQ. The similar way, all these 3-4 module, right, should connected to this RabbitMQ. So if something, if you are expecting to run your changes on particular probe, but if you are not able to do it, right, you have to check it whether probe is connected to, I mean, valid RabbitMQ. I mean, whatever RabbitMQ part of that sandbox environment, correct, it needs to connect to that RabbitMQ. So this is also one of the problems. So for example, that we have some issue with the deployment. When I think Devas is currently trying to address that particular issue. What's happening is, if you install probe on one machine, right? So some race condition, what's happening? Whatever we have it configuration, correct? It will be overridden. So after deployment, correct, what would happen in this particular machine, 120 machine, it may point to other RabbitMQ. What it it should point to our RabbitMQ, this sandbox environment RabbitMQ 119, but it could be point to different RabbitMQ. So then nothing would work, right? So I'm giving a problem statement. So we have to make sure that all our applications are pointing to that particular RabbitMQ. That is the connecting point. There is a one more sub connecting point related to script. It's about DFS and Wasabi. So this DFS and Wasabi, right? We have this setting in core as well, also hinge as well. So we have to make sure that if you're running particular script and you're having identify particular issue in hints, right? You need to make sure that both are connected to same DFS or Wasabi. So that is one more connecting point. Okay. So any question now?
So Jaganesh, what I think of, before starting of the day, whatever application we're supporting right now, can we get some applications URL or checklist, like we need to check whether the application or queues or channels are up and running on the servers. Can we do that?
No, no,
That is probably 10 minutes job to check whether all services are running, means from our respective
no,
application side. This is not.
yeah, we could add a checklist. I think people from I think every other day one developer can responsibility check it whether the things are working fine, right? Fine. So basically, we don't need to check everything. We can, if we execute some particular script, right, it would show it. So if you're able to execute particular script on particular server, you know whether things are in place or not.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you run, you don't need to go manually server by server and check whether things are up and running. All those things not needed in front end itself. If you run 2 or 3 test cases, it would you would come to know whether the things are in place or not.
Yeah. Okay. Means
Okay. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
so
we can keep some time point, like morning 11 to it means 2, 5, 6 before the scrum, so that we get to know that the services are well and running and things are in infrastructure are in place, actually, like that. Monitoring point of view means 3 times. Max we have 5 services,
no,
right?
not. I think per day itself it's fine. I would say.
Okay.
We if we have more than one service, right? I think nobody would. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I think. Yeah, we can verify.
We can verify.
In
Yeah.
alternative day, I think we have 6 or 7 developers, so we can take care of particular day and check it whether things are in place or not. Yeah. Okay, let me go to the other side. So until scheduler, right? So I think when it comes to that probe side, this is where I think things are getting a little bit complicated. So I will go one by one. So in Hammer application, voice-based platform, when we say probe, it has the three major services. I would say 3 major application. The Hammer itself has so many services. So I will come to that. So and then
Jagnish, can you
hints
take?
model.
Yeah, Jagnish, sorry. Can you take one question? Yeah, Devashish is hand raising. Yeah.
Yes, Debashish. Sorry.
Yeah, hi Jay.
Yeah.
So I want to know that whenever I am going to deploy some component over there, so every time I have to go to log and check that application is up and running. So how can I identify that from URL? If Callmaster is running or HIP is running or not, which application is down? Because we are not able to identify that. So on that
Yeah.
point, how we can identify?
Yeah, for that, I mean, I think we are going to prepare a in detail document, the basis. You could refer it, all these basic details. Yeah, we would
Okay.
prepare it. I mean, whenever you want to verify something, right? You can use that particular Excel sheet and go to that particular location and see very basic things, whether service are up and running.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jagnesh. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay. Okay. So let me take okay. So the probe, it's a model. I think most of developers do not have any understanding or minimum understanding over this particular probe server. So until scheduler, I think people can go and correlate things, but probe side, it's little bit confusing. I will try to explain how much thing as I possible. Okay, so as I mentioned, right, in probe we have three major services. Uh, I will let you know the purpose of each model, and um, and then you can correlate. So let's go to that particular probe server. So this is the probe 3 mission. Okay. Uh, so here we have a three major model. One is Empirics centralized controller. So it's a JCC application, but you need to call it as a probe JCC. It's not a scheduler, it's a probe JCC. Okay. There is another application called Empirics Hammer Interface Server. It's a hinge model. It's written in C Sharp. That is second model, and then the Hammer. When say Hammer, the Hammer has so many additional services. I think that part uh, I we would get some kind of KT from Andiket or Pradeep or Naren in the next week possibly to understand details more clear. But at this moment, we can segregate it to three different sections. One is probe JCC, second thing is hinge model, third thing is hammer. Okay, so this hammer is actually executing your voice based test. So here whenever you want to run particular IVR test, right, this is where things would be executed. So here we would, I think, when it comes to that hammer channel, it's a basic annotation, we have it. So if you want to run particular test, you would need to run it on particular channel or port. Okay, so you can see that live logs as well. But on high level, what I'm saying, when I say hammer, that is the model responsible to execute IVR test. Okay, so this is written in some machine level language. We have to connect through M3 DLL only. So the upstream application, right? Yeah, it cannot communicate with the hammer. So to connect with the hammer, there is only one way, which is through M3 DLL. Okay, that's why we developed a hinge model. Okay, so hinge model we created, uh, um, and then whenever the request reaches hinge, right, it will call hammer through M3 DL. Okay, so uh, uh, so it's kind of interface. So we all should aware of that. So once hammer is up and running, we need to make sure that go to the hinge logs and see whether it is in connected state. All those things we have to do it. We can add those checklists, but it's a kind of middleware to hammer. Okay, so and then why do we need a centralized controller? That is the another question. So centralized controller act as a one more interface between scheduler and hinge, and also it has many other roles to play. For example, yeah, it needs to update status of this particular hammer or status of channel, how many channels are in the execution state. All the things are consolidated in probe JCC and send it to upstream all the way to core and then UAE application. Okay, so that is the reason for centralized controller. So now the thing is that, so let me quickly, I think last week I had a call with Pradeep, Narain, and Kate to explain about the channel related configuration. So let me go once more. So for example, so if you go to the hammer section, right? So you know, if you go to that particular probe, let's say probe 3. So here you are seeing two labels, right? Channel 1 to 150, 150, 1 to 300. Okay. Labels also you are having it. How does UAE display all these details in the front end? Okay. So you may not need to in detail you need to know, but you have to you should have all the basic knowledge about that to isolate that environment issue or something like that. So for that, let me explain how the things are coming here until here. So so this is the problem right now we are facing with the sandbox environment. We are struggling for last 2 or 3 days. We are yet to figure it out where the things are going wrong. So um, so what, most of the time what's happening, one or two people are spending so much time to address this issue and leave as it is. We are not documenting those details, and then we never know if we took 10 hours to fix particular issue, the same amount of work we would take it 1 month after that, right? So that is the issue we are facing right now. The still the hammer label is not displaying properly. So as you correlate, right, we have a hammer application. Okay, this channel details passing all the way to centralized controller, scheduler, core, WebSocket, and UA. It is displaying in UA level. So there are n number of applications in between UA display and actual hammer configuration. So this is where we need to understand it, the how things are happening on high level. So um, so as I mentioned, right, in UA things are displaying, but in hammer, uh, whatever we are segregated it, right, it is uh, transfer all the way to UA. So that part I'm going to discuss now. So let me start with channels. So if you see here, correct, we can add a number of channel in that particular probe based on licensing. So all those things, the licensing, but other things, Naren or someone from Pradeep team would explain it. But if you see it here, correct, we have a 300 port license, 300 channels. Okay, that means in simple term, right, you could execute 300 calls in that particular channels. That is one thing. So um, so I mean, for other people, for basic understanding, right, so this hammer, we are, let me put it, I think few other new peoples are there for simple understanding. Let me put it this way: the hammer, right, if we have a channel, so let's say we have a 300 channel. Let's talk about channel 1. Okay, using this particular channel we can make an outbound call. Okay, outbound call means, so for example, if you want to dial particular phone number, okay, that is also possible. But if you to make an outbound call, right, you have to rely on service provider. So service provider, for example, service provider mean, I mean to say Airtel, Geo, or something like that, or in US we would have a Tcom or some other service provider there. But for our lower environment, we should not rely on service provider. Okay, we can't buy licensing for I mean, we can't buy a phone number for our own local testing. That is not possible. So that is where things comes into picture: A side script, B side script. So right now I'm putting it on high level. uh, I think Pradeep team would come back again on that, but what I'm saying is that here in lower environment you can't make a outbound call to particular outside external phone numbers because it is expensive, right? So what we are doing right now, we are segregating we have a 300 license in our I mean sandbox and dev environment. We have a 300. I'm particular probe. I'm talking about particular probe. We have a 300 port license. We segregated into two section: A side, B side. Okay, two channel group. Okay, so that's what you are seeing here. So G1 to 150, 151 to 300. So why do you need to segregate into two sides? That is the one more question. If you have in production, you would not have this kind of A side, B side script. You would have a single side script which can make a call to all outbound call. Okay, that's not the issue. But here you want to there is no other end to answer your call. Okay, for that what we are doing, we divided into two section. In B side, we are running some predefined script. Okay, so if you go to that B side script test builder, you know, so if you see here, correct, this is the A side script. Okay, this is the B side script. Okay, here it's waiting for call, and then you can do all the logic, whatever logic you want to do. So for example, if you make a call to particular phone number, what you would expect? You would expect that particular number to answer your call and then play a prompt something or play something and then disconnect the call, right? So those things we can do it. Okay, here we have to, so there is, I'm not sure how to create this B side script. What is the logic here? There are some icons are there. So for those things we could get some more additional information, Pradeep team. But I'm saying the reason for B side script to answer your call, to avoid outside outbound call. Okay, here you are running B side script in all 150 port. You are expected to receive the call and then answer the call. So one of the major thing when comes to the testing part, right, we have a two side script. You should not select this label. Label 2 you shouldn't select in lower environment. The reason behind that, that is for those ports are occupied with our predefined script. Okay, B side script that is already occupied in those script. Okay, if you see here, right, that here we are running B side script. That's the thing, you can note it down. B side script.spx file. But here in A side script, whatever instruction you created, correct, that spx file would be part of it. So in all B side script, you would are expected to run it B side script. So for all of us, for a testing purpose, you shouldn't select B side script. That is basic thing. Okay, you have to select label 1 only. Okay, so now comes to that second part. Okay, so we divided into two section, label A, label B. We divided into two groups actually, but we are not naming it here. In Hammer is not naming that particular label. In Hammer, we divided into channel level group. The group name just comes under based on channel only. 1 to 150, it's a one group. 151 to 300 is another group. We are not naming those group. Okay, the naming happens in probe JCC level. So as I mentioned, right, there is a one more module called probe JCC. Okay, so here what it doing is that it retrieve these Hammer related details. So how many the status of the whole probe, how many channels are right now, what is the channel group, all these details we get it from Hammer. So in Hammer, it's a I mean, it's a low level application. So it do not expose any API or something like that. But the upper stream need to fetch these details, that current ongoing details, right? So for that matter, Hammer IP comes into picture. Okay, so Hammer IP, you can see this particular service, Hammer IP API. Okay, this particular service comes into picture. It's a kind of middleware or kind of utility application for Hammer system. Okay, so what the Hammer IP would do that, the Hammer IP API would do that, it
Mhm.
absorb all ongoing Hammer related details and expose so many APIs. Okay, so if you call Hammer IP API, you can fetch ongoing details. For example, if you call particular API service, so let me show some example. Okay, if you see here, currently, these are the Hammer IP methods, API methods. So we have a service info, channel, Hammer engine status, signaling engine status, system info. There are various APIs we have it. So as name suggests, we come to know service, whether service is up and running. For that matter, channel, it's about channel configuration. So when I say channel group, channel range, all those things we could get it from this API. Okay, so now what this probe JCC model, right? Uh, the probe JCC model would call this Hammer API, Hammer IP API, and then it will name it. So for to naming it correct, the probe JCC maintaining this particular configuration file, hip.properties. Okay, so if you go
Yeah.
there, so here we are naming it. So as I mentioned, right, in Hammer we don't have naming. Naming it's about based on channel group, channel numbers. Here we are naming it. So 1 to 150 probe label 1, 150 to 300 probe label 2, and then there is a one more section called SAD. We know whether it is SAD or not SAD. So what probe JCC would do that, it refer this particular configuration and get the details from Hammer IP API, and then it broadcasts that particular probe channel details all the way to UI. Okay, so it goes to that Hammer status queue, Hammer manager receive it, and then Hammer manager update to database table for core to refer it, and also it Hammer manager put it into WebSocket queue. So so if let me put it some example. So okay, so if you see here, correct, so this is about more about that whatever details gathered for Hammer. So what is the Hammer service, whether it is running state or not, the channel group, channel name, all those things are consolidated. This is the flow. I think all of us should aware of this basic thing. So um, the probe JCC put it to Hammer status queue, Hammer status queue, Hammer manager. There is a one more model called Hammer manager. It's usually deployed along with core model. Okay, Hammer manager get that particular status and update persist into database table. Okay, that is one thing. The second thing is it also put it to go socket queue. So the when we talk about the go socket queue, so again, if we go there, we have exchange details. So here the Hammer manager result. So if you see here, correct, so one of the WebSocket is listening on this particular queue. So whatever uh, whatever it broadcasting, right, you come to know here. So Okay, if you see here, correct, the Hammer Manager result. So so if you see here, it comes all the way to our UA application. You got the point, right? So whatever we prepared it, I think the probe JCC here, right? The probe JCC refer that local label setting, the JSON setting, and then name it, whatever receive it from Hammer IP, and then pass it to Hammer Manager. Hammer Manager persist into database table and put it into WebSocket queue. So WebSocket is listening on particular queue. It will put it to that queue to broadcast that on, I mean, that particular message. So that message you are seeing it in UA side. Okay, so if things are going right, I think hereafter we uh, even after I think in sandbox environment I came to this level, still something goes wrong. I'm not sure whether it's based on UA application version or something like that. I'm not sure about that. To debug or to fix that issue, right, I would need um, a hand from both UA team as well as core team. But I put it my understanding all the way here. So this is how the things comes until UA level. Okay, on top of all these conditions, correct? Additional conditions into looking into in detail on each application layer. I think I don't need to talk about that right now. So this is one aspect. So whatever Hammer is ordered, right? It's passed all the way back to here in UA application. There is a one more thing, execute script. This is pretty much straightforward. So whenever you want to execute a script, right, as I mentioned, it reaches core comes forward to scheduler forward to here, and then schedule details comes to hinge module um, need to retrieve the xpx file from dfs or some server and then start executing it. So probably I will explain that execution part maybe uh, tomorrow.
In the next two. Yeah.
Yeah, next call. So I think all of us should have some level of understanding at this point of time in backend level. So any question at this moment? Tim, whatever question you have, please speak out. I think otherwise it is not.
Yeah, it is not useful.
I mean, I don't need to spend this much work if again we are going to same people going to spend the same kind of work. I think
That's what
I
you need to.
one thing I think even Pradeep aware of this thing. We spend so much time to gather details by ourselves. We got I think we got almost no KT from their people. So so the bare minimum thing from all of us, right? If something issue comes right, you need to specify based on um, I mean, you need to spend something on high level and put it to your understanding, not directly coming to respective team. Or we may spend some time, but we may go into wrong direction. So that also one thing we need to isolate. So for example, if someone Chetan spent some time on particular issue, if he is not documented, if it is not conveyed to our team internally, then I don't think it would the same person, the same Chetan needs to spend the same amount of work 10 days after or something like that. So whatever I am explaining it correct, I think I expect those kind of thing from core and web app and UA level, and Pradeep team are going to explain about this model. So from UA perspective, right, what I mean for on high level, what other people would want to aware of, right? So basically we need to know what service we have to start, where to check logs, what are the primary verification details.
Yeah, yeah.
If you face some frequent issue, for example, API is failing, how to how to check those logs, all those things. And then so for example, in sandbox level, if you want to change that application, which configuration you need to go there and change it, and how to restart. The similar to that web app. In web app, which where we have to configure queue details. Okay, in web app, it's coming to core queue only. Queue only, right? So we have to see which queue it's putting its message, and the core socket also we have to see which queue it's listening on. So all these things we have to document it. Uh, Whatever information you could gather it, you please try to gather it and put it in doc. I will explain about doc in shortly, but I'm saying on high level, I'm trying to say, and similar way, core also listening on more than one queue. So basically we need to put that concept here. So we know core is listening on one major queue, core queue and core web queue,
Yeah, yeah.
and also some dynamic queue also we are listening. I think Sadish and Chetan aware of that. We need to document it, and we need you to give some high level KT on that as well. Okay, so the similar goes to that hammer level. I think that I already conveyed to Pradeep. So these are the thing we need to um, uh, go ahead. Okay,
Keep in
to
mind, and in the whatever we have, we need to document it, and we'll going forward, we'll save the sample means hotel troubleshoot document we need to prepare for all the
yeah,
port
yeah,
stream.
yeah. I'm coming
Yeah.
there. So basically, yeah, as Smarak mentioned, we need to prepare a document and have it. So right now, I prepared. I think I already time already exceed. I let me take 10 minutes additional time of you. Let me quickly
Sure.
show that documentation. So this is primary thing. You should aware of that. So let me start with the infra detail. So here um, I have a list of setting. So this would be needed across all the team. Even testing team should needed for some level of thing. And
Testing QA
I think
everyone.
Debas is
Yeah.
also requested just before the call. So we would need to complete this document. So I will go one by one. The server detail. So here we have to put, I think under developer, right? We don't need to worry about QA for these 4 or 5 environment. Even if we are going to add some new environment in feature, we can keep it here itself. So basically what we need to put it here. All server details we have to put it for scheduler, where it is running, probe where it is running. If it is if you are running more than one probe under sandbox, we could add it with comma separator. So I think I just prepare it. Let me also update a few more server details, whatever I have it. So whatever you have it, whatever comes under your model, your application, whoever responsible, you please audit all those details. So that is most and basic things. The credential, we don't need to worry about that. Credential is applicable same across all the thing. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
the second thing is build and deploy
What?
job. So Jenkins details, credential you don't need to share. So build and deploy job also we need to specify here. So we have this many application, right? Whoever is responsible, you just put it,
Yeah.
build
That's right.
job name,
Build job.
deploy job name. So
Mhm.
even if both, even Anusha or Ganapati not available, if people want to deploy something on their own testing in sandbox environment, they could refer this sheet and go ahead and try to deploy it. So for example, Pradeep want to maintain separate server for their own purpose, Vlad team. So that I think this deploy build job, it's a quite simple one. They can easily deploy it if they have details. They can do that. So it's necessary to document all deploy job, whatever jobs we are having it across application. We need to document it. I will upload this document in share location similar to our leave tracker. So anybody can parallelly work as well, right? So I think you can audit a bare minimum. You have to audit your respective application details. Okay, please do that. Then comes to the list of services. So here, as I mentioned, right, every application has list of services. It could be a single service or more than one service. For example, scheduler, it could be a single service, but probe, we have n number of services. So I just put it, my understanding is I put it 2 service, but I think Naren or Pradeep team can add other necessary services here. And there are 2 sections I have it. One is list all the Windows services. So some issue, right, they can go ahead and identify Windows service, they can start it. You have to put it name here. Again, respective team members, please add it to your section. And then add one more thing, whatever service you have it correct, you add and give the purpose or some high level information you need to put it here. Okay, that is one thing. So next goes to the config and logs location. So here I put it applications. You have to put it application root config folder, log folder, and list of major config files. If we could add one more section, list of major config attribute. If you really feel you want to uh, you want to mention about that particular attribute, you're free to do that. Let me audit that section as well. So if you have more than one config folder, you can mention it with the comma separator. Okay, I think it would take all of us, every team members would take, I think, 1 hour or 2 hours, but let's complete this activity. So this thing, then database details. So let us make the database server details as well here. I think we would have it in separate. I'm not sure whether we are preparing some other document for our DB connection details. If we have it correct, let us move that section here. If we already have it, but but I'm not aware of that. So let's do that here as well. So then second thing is important queue and the exchange details. Okay, this it's up to each application. So I would, I mean, it's better to document all major queue details here. So some of the queues are not hard coded one. So we would have some dynamic queue, or based on the config value we could have it. So you can mention that as well, whether it's a dynamic queue or something like that. But I'm saying whatever queue you are aware of that and purpose of that particular queue, you try to add that section. Okay, so that also we need to have it. So we have so many queues, but it's not comes down to single developer. We are going to work it together. So all the, I think if it is a core, Chetan and Sadish are going to work in backend. Me and Sunil J are going to work it. So it's better to have that document as well. And then storage system. Here we have a 2 section, DFS Wasabi. So some system we are not using Wasabi. It's okay, we can leave it. But wherever we are having those details, you put it those details here. So I mean, this section probably I will spend time to gather and put it here. But if you are having already, you're free to upgrade. Okay. So I'm stopping here before going to next documentation. Any of you have any question or any suggestion? You can
Yeah, I
please take up.
think Jaya, I think apart from DFS Wasabi, we are also using S3, right? I heard on the fly
Yeah,
somewhere something we
S3
are
is
using.
yeah, S3 Wasabi is flavor of S3. Okay, so S3 offered by AWS. Wasabi is created on top of S3. Okay,
Okay,
it's a but Wasabi and
wrapper.
Wasabi.
It's a wrapper
Yeah,
written on
wrapper.
this.
Yes. Yeah, not
Okay.
different.
Okay.
Our
I thought
internal
they
we are
are
making
using
it.
AWS S3 as a separate storage system.
No.
Okay.
I think they may refer it S3, but they're referring Wasabi only. It's a
Okay.
flavor.
Okay.
I think we can call it
Okay.
anyway, whatever way we want. Okay.
Fine.
Okay. Team, I think all of us with me on this particular section. If you have any concern or query, please raise it. Or if you want, if you are not able to uh, create this document or prepare it, you let us know. I think Smarak, you sometimes people get occupied with some other work. They may not give priority to this. So I
Yeah,
think
I'll
you
start
can take
putting
care
the
of that.
action items. Ah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
can take care of that. I'm saying it's a most primary thing.
This
Otherwise,
is a first exercise we have to do it. First exercise to maintain the all consolidated infrastructure
okay,
at one place. Yeah, this
okay.
is the main thing
I
actually,
think
so that
Anusha
everyone.
Ganapati or Anusha Ganapati both are not available right now in this call. You can talk with
Yeah.
them.
I'll talk.
Set a expectation on this point, because if any one of us not following that correct, it is
Yeah,
leading
that will be
others
entire.
to
Yeah.
not to have it, and also it's very difficult other people to uh, go ahead and check it. Okay, so
Hmm.
I
We'll
think the amount
suffer.
of
Anyway,
effort
yeah.
we are spending, I last 1 week, Pradeep team struggle to progress on that, but that is the scenario we are having it right now. So at least we streamline that process. Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
so
Okay.
let me move to that next
Next one.
document.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the next document is about the communication between one model to other model. So the reason I'm not add it in Excel sheet, it would need for more detail. We can't put all these details in uh, Excel sheet itself. I think we need to add some more details, especially when we talk about communication. So as I mentioned, communication is more about RabbitMQ. So we so I'm creating a section between each application, probe JCC to Hinge, scheduler to probe JCC, core to scheduler, core to web app, core to WebSocket. Okay, we as a team need to add as much detail as possible related to queue based communication. So whatever queue you have it, you just need to add and give a explanation about that. So for some standard purpose, I will do it for one or two communication based on Java side. Other people would take care of other communicate whatever communication related to their application. So when I say uh, in detail, right? So for example, talk about probe JCC and Hinge. Okay. So here
Hmm.
we are talking about two different queue. One is for uh, send a request, send a job request. Another one is for result. So if you correlate, right? So centralized controller, it's upstream application. Hinge is one level downside. Okay. So for what purpose centralized controller want to reach Hinge? So if you correlate that correct, it is to submit voice job, right? So that's where comes into picture a queue scenario queue. So it's this queue. It's about sending a job request to Hinge model. Okay, so once you send a request, a job request to Hinge return the result back to centralized controller, correct? it is using a different queue, result queue. Okay, so this queue we are relying on. Centralized controller would listen on this result queue and then expect queue hints to put a result. Okay, so we let me add some more details in detail, but I think all of you understand the things I am trying to convey. So if you talk about two model, as I mentioned, it is happening through RabbitMQ. So then we need to see how many queues are part of that particular communication and which queue is used for which purpose, right? We have to document it. That is the thing we need to set the expectation. So if you talk about the two model communication between two model, we need to list all possible queues relevant to that two application and then explain about that particular queues. So for example, if you go to RabbitMQ section, correct, again I'm coming back to same thing. So if you see here, correct, okay, if you see here, correct, so in probe 3, correct, we have a two queue, result queue, scenario queue. So scenario queue means, as I mentioned, upstream scenario means submitting kind of job or something like that. So for test, right, they call it as a scenario. Okay, so you could guess it which service it should listen on. Okay, if you go there, right, this hints model is listening on this particular queue. Okay, if you are not seeing any consumer, right, hints is not up and running properly. Okay, the similar way, if you go to the result queue, so result queue scheduler is probe JCC is listening on from hints model. So if there is no consumer, then probe JCC is not up and running. These are the primary way of debugging our application. So in traditional application, right, you usually go to which API is failing and what is the error message, all those things, details. But here you can't go that level. But before go to the checking logs, you need to check these primary things. First of all, whether consumer is there, service are up and running, all those details. So what I'm trying to highlight, I could go ahead with this list of things. We could add it some more details. So for example, for new services, core manager or core processor, I think I would discuss with Sunil J a little bit later, but we could add it later point of time. But we need to segregate communication between one application to other application and how things are handled through RabbitMQ and purpose of it. So, okay, so this is one thing we need to document it. So if you want to have a different format or your own way, for example, communication between core and web app, I think Chetan and Sadish can go ahead and check, come back later with their own understanding. But I'm expecting, or I think all of us are expecting how things are happening. Even some basic technical knowledge people, right, should aware of what's happening, how things are going. So you try to update that document with the relevant screenshot, all those things. Okay, that is one more document. Then the troubleshooting document. So here I am listing all possible issue. Right now we have it. Okay, so if UI page is not loading, right, we need to mention what are the scenario the developer or someone need to check it. I will give a explain. I will start further update on this document, and then you people add it more based on your things. For example, if UI is not loading, you easily relate. That means web app is not running. Okay, that is the problem statement. You can also provide some solution. go to web app service and try to check whether it's up and running, or go to this particular queue, check whether consumer is there or not, some kind of thing. You need to give a problem statement, also need to give a solution to that thing. So for something, right, you would have a more than one problem statement. I will try to list out that. But the thing is that we need to list the problem statement, also we need to list that possible solution. It's not going to happen in day one. I would say give a priority to this particular document, the infra details update document. Then go to um, then second thing is queue details document. Then third thing is troubleshooting document. So we can take our own time. So based on your cover, I mean your ongoing work, you take your own time and update to Smarak what timeline you can do it in parallel. We can't say I'm spending this time on this thing, so my deliverables are affected. I think these people would not accept that, yaks and people. So
Yeah,
you
that is.
take care of your thing. I would say at least spend half an hour. I think if we put half an hour proper work
Happen is
on
more
daily
than enough.
basis,
Mhm.
yeah, on daily basis, I think we should be able to cover in 1 week, or at least end of next week, at least some kind of document, especially the infra document. And then um, uh, uh, things we can update it on the go. Whenever we are addressing something, we can go there, update it. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Any question on this?
It's still, yeah, on. Yeah. This is setting up is running here. Yeah, that thing was gone. Device setup. Security. Whatever we did yesterday, right? The same thing I'm doing. I'm repeatedly getting that error. So let's see what it will give this time. Yeah.
Okay. Kim, can you please let me know you have any other suggestion or anything on this matter? Pradeep, Chetan, or Sadish, Sunil.
I think, yeah, overall it is a good session. Um, but maybe we will have some timeline so that, I mean, we'll have some process like, I mean, every month the sandbox and the dev integration should be updated. Apart from this troubleshooting, some process to be done. So maybe I think it's a general thing. Only DevOps can come up with that, with the dates and time and when they are going to do that like that. Yes, without there we can't. Yes, individuals cannot. We cannot depend on each individuals. Maybe a single person who can do that for all of us. If there is any change in their modules, that is one thing. Yeah, apart from that, we need to have, as Jagani said, we need to have separate documents. But the important thing is how well everybody should understand the
Guys,
things.
wait
That
for
is
5 to 10 minutes. I will be coming. Okay.
Smarak, I'm meeting you.
Hello?
You can.
Hello.
Yeah, okay. Smarak, I think your voice is getting interrupted. I'm meeting you. Okay, yeah, Pradeep.
yeah, okay. That's what I think. We are running
Okay.
out of time. Maybe yeah.
Yeah, okay. The only thing I would say, I think the amount of question we are getting it from Yaks and Sandeep, I think anybody can like that, right? The way they spoke to us. I wouldn't stand with that kind of word. Okay, so uh, that's why I spend so much time to put it these things. I think as a team, we need to get that point and try to gather the details on top of your work. That one thing I put it here. If we can say whatever thing we want, but we need to take a responsibility on that. So even see, I'm seeing the UI developers are not joining. I'm saying because
Oh, they are not there, is it?
sometimes we are, yeah, sometimes we are not taking that
Oh,
thing
then
into
if any
serious.
problem comes in UI, then
Yeah,
we don't spend time. That's what they can still
yeah,
saying to Yaks.
yeah. That's why I'm saying. I think you could hear that words from Yaks and Sandeep, right? I wouldn't listen those words. Even Janai also putting so much thing to us. If you refer it, what you people are doing, something like that, right? I think nobody, no developer would want to listen those kind of things. So it's up to us. We need to understand the thing, put it from our state. We make sure that we are in proper state. Okay, if you are referring if you, I mean, if you are not able to spend sincere effort on this based on other work, I don't think it would work, because I too have so much work aside from this, right? But I wanted to, based on that last 1 or 2 months, I'm getting words from Jags, Sandeep, even Janagi. I want to put it additional work on top of this, and everybody should have some level of understanding. So the way Yags is speaking, I mean, especially Sandeep speaking, I wouldn't listen to that those words. So I request, I mean, humbly request all of us, you remember those things and try to contribute as much as you can. We can't. I think. If you are not able to understand or try to understand what I explained till now, right? If you come back to me every time, I would try to explain it, but uh, uh, there is no point. uh, I don't think it would be nice. That's the one thing I want to put it.
Honest, you, I mean, is there any troubleshooting document previously they have? Honest?
No, we have not prepared any.
No. I'm asking
troubleshooting.
earlier, do they have any documents in, I mean, in the repository?
Sorry, Pradeep.
Now, do they have any troubleshooting documents?
No, Pradeep, they don't have any troubleshooting document.
Mhm.
Yeah, that we are aware of, Pradeep. So they're
Mhm.
not even aware of that architecture.
No, maybe
Okay?
in
Even
today.
if something happened, right? Sandeep go
Mm.
their own service after service, but the only thing is that he even he not aware of in detail about particular application. He just go service by service, start, stop. Okay. So only Yags has that much deeper understanding. Uh, yeah. So I mean, the architecture diagram itself created by us, not by them. Okay.
Mm.
So that don't have any document.
See, at least for cloud part and all, you have something Yaks told, but this side Hammer IP nothing.
Yes.
Yeah, just
Yes. Right.
it's like putting something on something.
Yes. Right.
I think better Rajendran, once you know that it has been released to production, maybe if, that day or the next day, with the help of DevOps, your team can put help us to put this in dev integration as well as in the um, sandbox.
So, so you asked me to check with Katia or Yaks?
No, don't. There's no need to check with them. I mean, you know that there is a release when for production. So next
Yeah.
day, just we need to have that release to be installed in our dev integration machine as well as in the sandbox environment.
Yeah,
No,
that I can. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Everyone knows. We
Yeah,
are
right.
sending. Anyway, I'll do updates. No, today production upgrade is done on this platform.
So upgrade is done by our team or they are doing?
This Bala and Bala Yaks, Pradeep Purva.
Sandeep.
There is no automation here for a deployment. Manually,
Oh.
they are doing a deployment on the production. It is very. If they miss one server, then it will be very big.
Yeah, I don't know how many servers they have. They will do
Yeah,
all
say,
manually. Yeah.
entire NOC team is doing a support. So all the probe server, like how many probe server for in a production.
So
Everything they will be do upgrade, then do a validation of the entire NOC team will be available on the production day. So NOC team will do each region one by one. They will do a validation and they will see. It is a huge process. More than 2 hours they will be running and then they are testing. And we QA also will do more testing. So the production move, it is not automated, but yeah, I'll communicate to the dev team and yeah, so whenever its production upgrade is done on a specific platform.
If you want, then I can go get those version of latest build in production, and I can update those in sandbox as well.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
Yeah,
I
this is
can do that.
Debasis can do this. Yeah, instead of
Yeah,
Debasis can. Yeah, it's a right person.
I think Pradeep, I think for that matter, right, we would have some section called build and deploy job. So it's a, I think we, whatever system or environment you are going to, right, it's a very straightforward job. It would be, I think, once you get some kind of KD from Debasis, right? It's 4 or 5 services only. You could trigger it. I mean, even I'm saying, even if Debs is occupied with some other work, anybody can trigger it using Jenkins job. Okay, so you just need to specify that your server name. That's it. It would work.
But the deployment, automatic deployment is not that. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, automatic deployment is there. I mean, it needs to be triggered manually, but automatic deployment is there, right? Debasis.
Yeah, Jai Ganesh.
Yeah.
I'll do one thing. I'll create a separate column over here, and I will mention that whatever component in updated in which piece, I will clearly mention it there. Then according to this, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you see, I mean, for Pradeep's sake, so it's not a big thing. Once, I mean, if you are able to log in, right? So we just need to, there are 2 sections, build and deploy. Okay. So for JCC, we would going to document it, right? For JCC, what is the build name? What is the deployer name? So we know, right? If we know, right? So you just need to go to that particular job and then build with parameter, and then you mention sandbox environment and remove it. So here you specify your server name, whatever server name, part of your thing, right? And then go to here, right? It should be master deploy. That's it. Build. It should deploy automatically. Okay. I mean, someone take responsibility, but it's not a big thing. Anybody can do that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Jagnesh. Okay. Actually, we'll keep this as a running document, and we'll keep track it further. And
okay. I mean, you can set the expectation among all the people.
Yeah.
So they have to spend at least additional work for 1 or 2 weeks to upgrade this. We can't. I think I can't go back. We can't go back to. I mean,
Customer and say
I'm
we
a customer
didn't.
and say
Mhm.
I spend this much amount of time, so I'm not working any task that they won't accept.
You
There are
can't
some
do
critical
it.
things are going on, so they won't accept. But it's up to developer. Each developer they have to
That's it.
spend their own
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
half an hour or something. You put some deadline to complete this document. So yeah, that's it from me.
Yes, 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 Jagnesh. I'll make sure that we'll track it. I'll track it on each individual basis. We'll make it filled up all those documents and all. And yeah, overall, yeah, this session was very good actually. Yeah, yeah. I think team has got some knowledge, or I think they have previously they have some knowledge, but here they got some more ideas about how things are working, how interfaces are working, how channels are there, how many channels are there, what need to be triggered first. So RabbitMQ and all those things. So it was a good session. Thank you very much. Yeah. So anything else, guys? We want to discuss, and we need to keep the
Dennis,
video on.
this sandbox
Yeah.
still work is going on, is it? Sandbox.
Yeah, yes, Pradeep. So what's happening in Sandbox? I'm able to fix until labels are getting reflected in the UI. Okay. So the things are coming to website, but somehow the labels are not ordered into. I mean, it's the same issue. It's showing sometimes after refresh it goes, and in test and script page also labels are not available. So I think I'm stuck with that particular thing. I can spend time, but I'm not. I think someone from UA and core has to put a hand on that. Uh, so from UA side, they need to someone need to spend what I mean, which section they are referring, why the things are not retained, what is the issue with current ongoing thing.
He
Because
says
I
Ganapati put the new UI, he said, but it's
you
okay.
manager, but not sure whether it would resolve that issue. If it is resolved, then well and fine. But if not, then we have to see.
Okay. Okay. Just let us also try after some time whether it's working or not.
Yeah, yeah. You can, yeah, you can put the videos and the documents, the updated documents there in the share OneDrive folder. Yeah. So that team will have access to it, and we'll make sure we'll update it. I'll make sure that, yeah. So, any Pradeep, Jagnesh, or we can
Yeah, I think
disconnect.
Pradeep, the things are
Yeah.
coming back now. Now it seems you go ahead and check it. Okay.
Wow.
You can check it and let me know if you are struggle somewhere. I'll try to give input.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, team. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Jagnesh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
हाँ, you're audible. हाँ, हाँ, you're audible. हाँ.